Hey there, crafters and stashers. Welcome to the CraftStash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. Hey guys, welcome to February. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016. Welcome to the show. First time viewers, hello there. My name is Kim. I live in Denver, Colorado. Returning viewers, sparkles. I don't know why I just did that. That was really weird. I'm recording on a Tuesday night. I think I just said that already. This is a buttload of red box wine that I'm trying to finish because we've had the box for about a week and this is going to go bad, so I need to get it out of the way. So it's going to be that kind of show. Today, as usual, I have a little bit of what I'm crafting, some of what I'm stashing, some new stuff in the media mix, and a little bit about me in periphery. So let's get started. So what am I crafting? Oh my goodness, lots of fun stuff. I'm really excited. I'm feeling like the term sewist is something that I can say of myself, even though I don't think of myself as a sewist the way that I think of myself as a knitter and a crocheter and a spinner. But I finished yet another skirt this week, or last week. I had made a version of this skirt a couple months ago. I took a class at Fancy Tiger Crafts, my awesome local craft store here in Denver. And it's the Everyday Skirt Pattern by Liesel and Company. I think it's the same people who do Oliver and S. They have a line of adult clothing sewing patterns. And I had taken the class a couple months ago, like I said, and had pre-cut all of my fabric for a second skirt because I was being ambitious. You know, the thing where you kind of take a class and you're like, I know how to sew a straight line and cut a straight line barely. So instead of making one garment, I'm going to try and make 2 garments in this class. And I did finish my first skirt and had enough time to cut up my second skirt, but obviously not to sew my second skirt. So months and months and months later, I finished the second skirt and here it is. So the cool thing is that I bought the equal amount of yardage from 2 different fabrics, fabric A and fabric B. So my first skirt is actually made, the main body is in this darker navy fabric, and then this orangey beige fabric is the pockets. So I had plenty left over to make another skirt, and I finished the skirt over the weekend. So it's a pretty simple pattern. I guess it counts as an A-line skirt with pockets and an elastic waistband, which is pretty easy to make. The sizing is, no lie, intensely off because I'm usually like a 10, 12, 14 sometimes on the bottom, and this is a size small, and it's still very loose. It's a very generous hip circumference, I guess you could say. And I think the thing that I would do differently is not necessarily choose the size differently, but this pattern in particular has very, very, very generous seam allowances. It's about a 1/2 inch seam allowance everywhere. So cutting down, going down to the next size, making sure that the cool thing about most modern sewing patterns is that they give you the finished measurements as well as, hey, if your body is this size, choose this size, so you can kind of see the ease that you would get from making a certain size. So as long as you do the due diligence of saying, oh, I have 43-inch hips, and the skirt says, you know, it's going to, the finished dimensions are around a 46 for my size, then that's kind of all you need to worry about. So that's my lesson learned there. I would kind of size it down. And the other thing that I learned is that the first time around that we made the skirt, I don't know if you guys can see some of the stitch work here. We have 2 rows for gathers and for the elastic waistband in the back. I didn't realize that the first time around, and when we made the skirt in the first time with the instructor, we only did 1 elastic waistband around the top. As curvy as I am, I definitely make use of both of the waistbands. So that's that, kind of read through the pattern if you're taking a class with someone, because sometimes they skip parts that you might think are really valuable. And B, the way the gathers are worked, I kind of like it better now that I can slip the skirt on over my head. I cannot fit it on, putting it on like backwards from like stepping into it just because my butt's too big. But it gives me a much better fit in the waist, and I can still slip it over my head. So think about the ways that you're going to actually put the garment on and let that help you decide how to make the skirt. But I'm very, very excited about it. I made it super short because somehow this time around it's a little, my gathers are a little bit more poofy in the front, so it fits more like a tulip skirt than an A-line skirt, which I think is kind of cute. But because of that, I like it to fit a little bit shorter, since it kind of looks like I'm wearing a big balloon. But that's the style. So I really like it. I'm really excited about it. Yay for finished object. And just as a recap, I made a tutu a couple of weeks ago that I was very, very excited about, this lovely dove gray tutu. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I finally finished it by, sorry if you fear the fabric rustling, I finished it by turning under the hem. I don't know if you'll see that. Oh, pretty good. By turning under the hem, I learned how to use the blind hem foot, or the rolled hem foot of my sewing machine, which I didn't know how to use before. It's a little tricky. There are no real tips that I have other than to practice a lot with some scrap fabric of the same exact fabric that you're going to use, because you'll have to find a sweet spot of how to feed it into that little rolled fork tongue looking thing. But when it works beautifully. And the other thing that I did, and I think I talked about this 2 episodes ago if you're interested in the details, but the other thing that I did was I folded back the waistband twice to cover up the elastic of the waistband itself, and now it's a skirt that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm going to wear this week. One of my coworkers requested that I wait until Thursday since she's not in the office so that she could see me in my tutu. So, all right, Linda, I'll see you on Thursday. So that's what I'm crafting in terms of finished objects. I take a sip and then I'll tell you what I've got on the needles. Builder box, the best. $20 for 3 liters of wine. I'm not picky. It's pretty good. So the other thing that I'm working on is hiding out right behind me. Let me see if I can get the cat here. Hey, Lava. Oh, she's hanging out with you? Okay. The cat likes to hang out. This is Greg's work table. I'm in the art room, studio, craft room. And normally Lava hangs out on this table. And of course, the time that I'm recording, she doesn't want to hang out. It's fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to make a firing noise on camera. So the other thing that I'm working on is a sweater for my dog, Polu. And it's coming along pretty nicely. I'm almost done with it. And he's a pretty big guy, and I'm kind of surprised that this is kind of the sweater. Like, this is half of the sweater. He's about 47 pounds, and his chest is about 28 inches wide, which I guess I know some people whose chests are 28 inches wide. So I thought I'd be knitting forever, but I am knitting this with the yarn held double. I'm using Madeline Tosh DK and some leftover quantities that I had from a sweater that I made for myself ages ago. And this is the side button Greyhound sweater pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I haven't really made too many adaptations to it other than just to kind of keep putting it on Polu and just measure where his chest is. He's very thick in the neck. It's a sweater that's intended for Greyhounds who are longer and sleeker than my beautiful dog. So I got to make it a little bit shorter and stubbier and wider for him, but it's going pretty nicely. I like the amount of stretch that it has. And the way that it works is basically his head will go in here, and these little plackets on the side let him have a free range of movement, and this will go along his back. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to pick up along one of the side edges and make a kind of like a belt that goes across his chest and buttons to the other side. This way it's easy to get it on and off him, and he can still wear his harness or whatever. But it's pretty straightforward. I started doing some color work here on the back, mostly because I was afraid of running out of yarn, and I wanted to use these 2 different colors. So totally made up this weird freeform castle pattern on the top, and then just started to do, I think this is called Eye of Partridge, when you have every other stitch in a different color. And I've never really done color work before, but this is pretty neat. I always get kind of mixed up on how to do the floats, you know, these long stretches of where the yarn is carrying over. But I kind of learned or remembered that as long as you're twisting your floats over each other in the same direction, it'll help keep your tension and not get things too funky on the back. So yay for a little bit of color work. I'm knitting these on size 10.5, size 10 needles. And I'm loving it. I should be done in time for a little ski trip that we're doing. I say ski trip. I'm not going skiing. F that. It's going to be in time for a little hang out in the snow and drink bourbon trip that I'm taking with a couple of friends in a couple of weeks. So he will be styling in his little doggy sweater. I'm very excited about that. So that's all that I'm crafting and all that I'm crafting. What else am I stashing? So for stash, I was bad. I'm not supposed to be buying anything, and I kind of couldn't resist. I got some more yarn. So this is kind of, it's not a cheat at all. Craftsy is offering an exclusive brand of yarn called Cloudborn. And I had to snag some because I work for them and because I get a generous discount. And because I wanted to make a sweater out of Highland wool. I've never really used Highland wool. This stuff is a little bit rustic for my taste. If you guys have seen any of my Instagram or Ravelry projects, I like very springy yarn, very brightly colored yarn, not too much heathers, not too much actual physical texture, but very, fun, springy, bouncy stuff. And this is, as you can tell, sorry for my super dry hands here. Let's see if you can see that. Maybe not. This, as you can tell, is a lot more rustic. There's a lot of air in here. It's spun woolen. It's a lot warmer. Not really anything that's going to bounce off the ground if I drop it. But the colors are really, really nice. So I'm going to, I bought this as a kit. It's a kit for the Messaline sweater pattern, which is a pattern by Bristol Ivy. I was really excited. I got to work with her a couple of months ago on a class that she did, and I've been meaning to knit one of her patterns ever since then. So because we had a kit, it was really, really easy for me to make the decision. But what I did is that the kit comes in all one color, and you know me, I would kill myself if I had to knit with all one color that's not a semi-solid or variegated. So I'm going to hold these double because I can never follow a pattern straight. So we'll see if these two heather nicely together. I think they'll be really, really nice. Messaline is a pattern that's got mild cabling along the sides and it's kind of oversized, but it's not exactly boxy, like Joji Locatelli's boxy pattern. So I think that when I hold these two together, it'll be a really nice, deep slate, Caribbean slate color. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. So that's what I'm stashing, even though I shouldn't have, but it was okay because I did spend a ton of money on it because I got a nice discount. So what else have I got for you? I know, some media mix. So media mix is where it's kind of a variation on periphery where I talk about things that I'm ingesting that are not wine. It's kind of the books that I'm reading, the websites that I'm visiting, the articles, the music, the movies, all that fun stuff. And for the past couple of times that I've done it, I've been talking about books that I'm reading. I'm still reading voraciously. I'm reading about 6 different books right now, which is kind of intense for me, considering that last year I only read 3 books. Being part of a book club is part of that. And also just, we are 2.5 blocks from our local library, and I actually really like it there. The facility is nice and new, and I like hanging out there, and they have a decent selection of books, so I just keep going and checking things out. So I am still reading. I'll tell you more about that in a later episode. But the thing that I wanted to share with you guys for Media Mix is a music video that I'm kind of obsessed with. I don't know how many of you guys heard Missy Elliott's new song. It came out late last year. It's called WTF, Where They From? How you do, where they from? Yeah, I think so. It's called, I was going to start singing it, but I'm not a really good rappist. Anyway, it's called Where They're From. It's a really fun song. I love Missy Elliott. It's not her best song at all, but it's a really fun comeback for her. And I've been obsessed with this music video. I've always been really into, I don't know what it's called, street dance or urban dance or hip hop dance or modern dance. I've always been really into that stuff. And lately there's so many great competitions and videos up online about dance routines that people have done. And every couple of months I get super obsessed and just watch 30 of them at once. And that's what happened a couple of weeks ago when this really intensely amazing choreographer, her name is Trisha Miranda. She works out of LA. There's some sort of really cool studio that has a lot of really great street dance choreographers working out of there, and they do this thing where they have huge classes where people can kind of just come and dance. But the neat thing is that they videotape these things along to the current song that's being played, and it's kind of like a spotlight of the dancers that are really, really good and really, really fun. And the best part is, do you guys know how much I love children dancing? I'm not really into kids. I love dancing. But children dancing, I will always stop and watch. So They have the cutest little kids of all colors and sizes and shapes dancing along to the song, and it kind of like drives me crazy. I think I listened to it on rotation. No lie, I'm not even lying to you. I had it in the background of my computer screen in a little window on rotation all day, and that's all I listened to all day. And every once in a while I would look up and see little kids dancing, and I was like, ah, it was so good. So that's what I have for you for Media Mix. If you're into dancing, if you're into really fun choreography, if you like little kids, if you like Missy Elliott, I highly recommend you watch this thing at least twice because it will make you so excited. So that's what I have for you for Media Mix. So the last bit I have to share with you guys is periphery. It's how I'm doing, what's going on with me, all that fun stuff. And I keep it to the end, just in case you are like me and you really want to see the yarns and the crafty things first. But this week I just wanted to share two things. I'm really excited that I am doing something really, really healthy, and I've been doing it for about a month and a half. A good friend of mine, Susan, started a Facebook group to help her and her friends support each other in like New Year's resolution lifestyle change stuff. It's basically an exercise and healthy eating support group. I think about it totally different because when I say that in my head, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm going to quit, whatever, who cares? I'm happy with my body, which I really, really am, but I'm not necessarily happy with the way that I eat and how much energy I have and how strong I am. So long story short, we've been in this group for ever since January, and my first goal was just to kind of at least twice in a month cook home cooked meals all the way through. So I did that for most of January, and I'm continuing to do that. I'm using the Fresh 20 cookbook, which is really, really good because it gives you 20 ingredients and you can make 5 different meals out of it for the whole week. And because it's the cookbook ratios are for families of 4, Greg and I can kind of get 3 or 4 meals out of each recipe, which is really great because then we have lunch. So I've been doing that for a while, but about 6 days ago, I all of a sudden was like, I'm going to go to the gym today. And I actually went that day. And then I went again the day after. And then I went again the day after. So I've been doing exercises and running for 6 days straight, which for me is really intense. Like, I'm not sitting very gracefully. I'm kind of doing the pregnant lady, like, ooh, every once in a while. But I feel really good about it because it's just freaking happening, which is awesome. So that's what's happening periphery-wise for me. And then obviously the other big thing is that my hair, if you've seen the back, I lost some weight. I cut my hair, or actually I asked Greg to cut my hair on Sunday night. I've been thinking about it for months now. And we finally did the big chop, which I'm very, very excited about because I can go to sleep like this. I can wake up like this, spritz a little water, get up and go. And it feels really, really nice. So, new hair. It happens. New year, new hair. That's the way it rolls with me. But yeah, that's kind of what I got going on. I think that's about it. And I will talk to you guys in about 2 weeks. If you're on Instagram and you don't follow me, that would be great if you do. I'm at Crayola, and Crayola.com is still a thing, but I'm not super updating it lately, and that's okay. But other than that, I will see you guys in a little bit, and if you can't craft it, stash it. Cheers.